All right, now a great trick that we can use when improvising over that 2-5 cluster, that 2-5-1 cluster, right, is to utilize the major scale, all right? So here we have E minor 7 flat 5, A7 going to D minor 7. I'm just playing the chords all in the left hand, right? And I said that that's a 2-5 going to 6. Now the 6th chord, once again, diatonic is diatonic to what key? It's diatonic to the key of F. All right, so if we're on that 6th chord, we could play that F major scale starting on the 6th note, D. All right, so here it is, D. This would be called D natural minor, right? And this would be one of the choices that we would use for a minor chord, is our natural minor scale. Okay? So when we move to E minor 7 flat 5, we can keep this same scale, except we just move it so that it starts on E and ends on E, okay? Yeah, we do that. So now if you take a look at this, you'll notice that, oh, lo and behold, I have my E minor 7 flat 5 chord embedded right there. When we go to A, we can do the same thing. And if you look here, I have the 7th, I have the 5th, and I have the root of the A7 chord, but I don't have the 3rd. So what I would do is I would move these, okay? I would move these 2 notes down, and instead what I would do is I wouldn't be playing the 5th, I would play the sharp 11 and the 3rd. And this creates a altered scale. It is really a B flat melodic minor ascending scale, right? B flat melodic minor scale starting on A. Okay, so you notice that we're very, very close to playing that F major scale throughout the entire thing. And if I did do the F major scale, doesn't sound bad, does it? Okay. Now, this is the benefit of knowing, oh, it's not 7-3-6, it's a 2-5 to 6. So now all I have to do is just think about that 6th chord, getting to that 6th chord, and know, all right, well, on that 6th chord, I can use that natural minor scale. But guess what? I can use that natural minor scale over all of those chords. Now, before I was saying that, you start from E to E, right? A to A, and D to D on the scale. You don't always have to start on the E, the A, or the D, right? Check this out. I'm going to play. There I just played that D natural minor scale, or the F major scale, starting on D, right? Just up and down. It worked well for the E and for the D. Obviously on the A, it doesn't work so well because that C sharp rubs with that D the wrong way, okay? But you get the point, or I hope you're getting the point that, wow, all I need to do is basically use one scale, the F major scale. The F major scale works over all 3 of those chords. If you want to get a little bit more fancy on the A7, like I said, you can use that altered scale. Then I have an example written out here. I wrote out, I'm sorry. Now I wrote it on 16th notes. You don't have to play it like, you don't have to go that fast, like you don't have to do this. Right, because moving from here down to there anyway in 16th notes is going to be a little ridiculous. All right, it's just written out just so you can see those notes. Okay? All right, so now when you start to see that pocket of a 2-5, that 2-5 cluster, let's move on now back to that diatonic and non-diatonic clustering. And what do you notice? D minor, then C minor, F augmented 7 to B flat. Well, what is that? Again, there's my 2-5 to 1, isn't it? And then once again, on that 2-5 to 1, on the 1 chord, I can still, once again, on that B flat, I could use that F dominant, I'm sorry, not F dominant 7, F major scale, if I wanted to. If I wanted to get a little bit slicker, I would probably add in that A flat to go along with the B flat dominant 7th. Okay, I might even throw in that E flat So this gives me a B flat Mixolydian scale. If you don't know that, don't worry about it. The main thing is to just start to see, okay, if I was going to B flat, I could play that F major scale starting on B flat, because B flat is diatonic. I'm just reverting back to triads for a second. So if I went to a C minor, to F, to B flat, I could do that. I could do that, major scale over all three of those chords if I wanted to. Or if I want to get a little bit slicker, what I could start to do is say, all right, well, what scale works over that B flat chord? What scale works better over the B flat chord? Well, probably that B flat Mixolydian scale. The reason is that I have that flatted seventh in there, and also I put the E flat in there, right, because I'm just kind of, for right now, thinking of this as a temporary one, right? So the B flat is my temporary one for a second. So there's my B flat major scale, there's my Mixolydian scale. So if I go to C minor, I could do that, and over F dominant seventh, I could do that, although that's a little bit confusing here, isn't it? Okay, and when I go to B flat, that works nicely. All right, so it gets a little bit confusing. There's an easier way in which you could do this. All right, before, when I went to that E minor 7 flat 5, A7 to the D minor, I was thinking about what is that D minor. That D minor is my temporary one chord, right? But it is a minor chord. And I said to you, what scale would I typically use over a minor chord? Well, I would use that minor 7 flat, I would use that natural minor scale over that minor chord, right? So on D minor, I would use my natural minor scale. All right, so now if B flat, let's just think of this, forget about it being a dominant seventh chord. Let's just think of it as a one chord, as a one major chord, all right? Let's just put it into two different camps. There's a minor chord or there's a major chord, all right? So let's just say it's a dominant chord, yes, I know, but it has major tonality to it, so let's just consider it major for a second, all right? So you're really just looking for the big differences between major and minor. This is definitely major, in that major camp. All right, so now, think of what is the major scale for that one chord, all right, for this B flat. It would be what? B flat major, right? So now, if I take that major scale and I apply it going from C to C, look at the notes I got. It's perfect for that C minor. And now look at the notes for F, dominant seventh. Great. See how I have my flatted seventh in there? And then I have the notes for my one chord. Okay? So what I can do is when I see that C minor 7, F dominant seventh, the B flat 7, I could still think, all right, it's going to a major tonality, right? So let me just think major. Let me think major scale. So I have B flat major scale starting on C. Here I have B flat major scale starting on F. And then here I have B flat major scale starting on B flat, but then I say, well, wait a second, I changed this to a flatted seventh, so then that's all I got to think. So now rather than having to think, oh, what are the scale, what are the notes for the scale to improvise over the C minor, and then over the F dominant seventh, and then over the B flat seven, all I have to think about is what is my 2-5-1 cluster. Okay? That 2-5-1 cluster will help to put everything in its place. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this one more chapter because I want to show you another way in which you can look at it. So I'll see you in a second.